for having me.
Absolutely. So, welcome to another episode of Tish Talks. Again, Tish Talks is really an opportunity where I bring women together that have started somewhere within their journey for a reason, right? I wanted to be the person that I was looking for when I was in the midst of my storm, in the midst of my valley. And so, Tish Talks was formed with that. I want women to know and understand that what you see here, what you see today, it was work. And so while you might see the healing version, it took time to get there. And so for that person, that woman that might be struggling with, man, I just want to know how. We are here today to give you some tools, some tips, and some nuggets. And so, with that said, I have Lia Valencia Key on. Super excited. Thank you so much for joining. When I read your bio, when I read your story, I was in awe. And so I'm going to take a moment to just say, can you tell us a little bit about who you are so my audience knows that?
Yay. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for allowing me to be here with you. I love exactly what you talked about. It's like just really sharing
Yeah.
where each of us come from. It
Yeah.
allows people to understand that healing is possible,
Yes.
growth
Yes.
is doable, and consistent, ever evolving movement
Yeah.
is always important in our lives. I'm always healing. like, so
Yes.
I'll talk about my beginning journey and then we can get into this new healing journey.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
My beginning journey starts super humble in
Mm,
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in one of the most impoverished neighborhoods
yeah.
in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was born into poverty. I was born with my sister, brother, single mother.
Mm,
And my mother, I self-diagnosed my mother. So my mother is no longer, she's passed at such an early age.
okay.
But what I do share is my mother was one of the smartest women I know,
Mm,
but due to I say systemic racism, society stereotypes, mental bondage from generational curses. All of those things kind of paralyzed my mother, where she
mm,
couldn't break out of the generational poverty that she was actually born into. I
yeah. Yeah.
love to describe the street. It's poverty riven violence, drug addictions on every corner. This is that neighborhood. And then we went from poverty to destitute when my mother broke her leg in several places
Yeah.
and she couldn't even afford. We were living in this basement part of someone's home on this rough street,
Mm,
and she could no longer afford even that rent. And it was four people, four bodies in a one bedroom basement home.
mm,
She's getting us back from school, and there's a padlock on the door. And so all of our
mm,
belongings were locked inside. And that meant we had no place to go. A mother with three children, young children. I'm about third grade, I believe. At the time, I black out ages and numbers for like
yeah.
strength's sake, but I do remember
Mm,
specifics. Super young, and I'm looking up at my mother, and that's the first time I really saw what pain and sorrow and
yeah.
emptiness looked like, because she
Yeah.
had no place to take her children.
Mm,
That took us to a woman's homeless shelter, and if no one has ever experienced that, the one that we were sent to was, if you imagine a school gym,
yeah.
and it's huge room with cots 1 foot from each other, fill an entire gym, and it's a mother to a cot, so entire
Mm,
family to one cot. That's all four of us crammed on this one cot with the little belongings we were left on us. And
yeah.
there's sorrow, and there's moaning, and there's cursing, and there's coughing, and there's just a hopelessness
Yeah.
filling the room. But what I always share is my mother, and here's where I remember certain things. I remember my mother looking down at her three children, me being one of them, and she looked at us and said, "Your predicament does not determine your destiny."
Mm,
And that was magical because I was young, and I must have been, I didn't understand it. So
yeah.
what I call it was a seed that was planted into me, because I'm able to share it today. That's how
Yeah.
powerful it was.
Yeah.
But we went on and lived in that homeless shelter for years.
Oh,
And
wow.
I started to become a product of my environment. So I start to become negative, failing every grade known. I failed lunch. If lunch was a class, I was failing it. That's what I was becoming, because I was becoming what I saw.
Yeah.
The second moment, I'd say light was turned on in my life. I share as I'm coming back from school to the homeless shelter, and my mother's standing in the front of the homeless shelter, and she stops me and she says, "Leah, do you want to be a follower or a leader?" And I'm like, because I'm now like sixth grade, and I'm still young. Like, where do you decide to go up? And she's like, because right now you're following. Guess what? You're going to become everything you see. You're already becoming everything you see.
Yeah.
Or, Leah, you can choose to lead. You can choose to lead your life. You can listen to that inner whisper, that inner light inside you, and you can go after your own destiny and lead it. And she said, Leah, you choose. And she left me with the beautiful power of choice at such a young age.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I have questions, right?
Yes.
That was powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And while your entire story stands out, what's even more powerful are two things. And that is, even at a young age, because I have two small little girls myself, and I say to my 8-year-old all of the time, Harper, you should be a follower, right? We don't raise, you should be a leader. You shouldn't be a follower. We don't raise, followers in this household.
Right.
And I wonder, will she remember, right? What does she remember? So to hear you say that, and to know that you've pulled that out and that sticks with you to this day is powerful. And even hearing you say that she left me with the power to decide that.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's a beautiful thing. And, I always say, we just pray that how we raise our children or nieces and nephews or whomever we have, right? We just give them the tools, and we pray that they will take those tools that we've now given them and be able to move forward. And so thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. I say that I'm still divinely blessed, right? Because at such a young age, maybe I wouldn't have received it. Maybe I wouldn't have heard it. Maybe it wouldn't have been so impactful. But literally the next day, I went back to school and asked, how do I get better grades? How do I see now? It was an immediate now it's hard. Now I'm still struggling and trying. You're battling your you that you've been, but the impact of words resonated within me forever.
You pretty much, I think you answered this, but I'm going to ask you my question anyway.
Yes.
What was your pivotal moment? What was your turning point where you said, I get that I'm young, right? But I hear my mom. I have to do better.
Yeah, whether it's in your childhood clarity. I think if she had just said, you want to be a follower, leader, lead your own, and left it there, then I don't know if it would have been that impactful. But I really feel her painting the picture of where I was already, like saying, like really making it clear. Right now, you are following. It's not like you want to be a follower. It's like right now, what you're doing is following, and here's what you are already. You're being negative, you're failing, and guess what you're going to become in the future? This exactly thing. So if you don't want to live in a homeless shelter for the duration of your life, if you don't want to have these struggles, then you need to decide to lead. Or you could just choose to follow, and it's already here for you. You know what your future is going to be. I want to be this forever now.
Okay. So we all have those moments that profoundly wounds us, right? I hear the changes and the shifts that you made, right? Even at a young age. But let's move a little bit into those teenage years or those young adult years. What was that moment that truly profoundly wounded you, where you took that and you said, man, this had a negative impact, but I've got to make a change?
Yeah. I got a lot of negative impacts. I do a lot of negative things and be like, woof, that ain't right. I gotta change that up. That's every day. That was yesterday. But I can go back to high school. One is it's a couple things, but I'll pull out. My mother is very impactful in my life. My aunt was very impactful. If you see my designs, a lot you'll see three. Three is a strong number for me. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, beginning, middle, and end. But also define my mother.
Don't glide over that. Say that again.
Yeah.
Don't glide over that.
Like, hey, give that power.
Right.
Yes, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right?
Yes.
And it's the divine Trinity.
Yes.
3 is one of the most powerful numbers. It's the strongest number if you look at it. But for me, when I look at my 3, I'm like, oh, it is a holy number for me. And it was represented in my mother, and my grandmother as these symbols for me. And I love people to define, like, what is your 3? Is it Father, Son, Holy Spirit? Is it your children? Like, what is your 3? But my mother was a wisdom person. So she would speak. She was able to really see things in the world and speak them out clearly to me as if I was an adult. And my grandmother was a praying woman.
Yes.
So even though her house was falling down around her, she would be dressed and like, what you dressed for, Grandma? She's like, I'm dressed for the Lord. Like, I woke up and prayed and got ready for it. And I'm like, ew, that's cute. Okay. And then my aunt was this very charismatic, bold woman due to she was darker skinned, and back in the day when she grew up, that was very challenging, right? People didn't receive it, but she grew this boldness and bravery about her and turned it into so much light and beauty. It's an awing to me. And so she would tell me to look people in my eyes, sit up straight, like, so all of these things are pivotal for me to actually physically be who I am first. And I was in college. And I was barely making it through. Like, I didn't know what school was. I just barely made it there. I decided that I was going to school regardless. Even though we couldn't afford for me to be there. No one in my family had ever went to college, so I didn't know what to do when I got there. I was just like there and holding on. But in high school, my mother said never to be a quitter. And so even when she passed, the pinnacle for me was like, I could have quit because that was in the middle of my schooling, and I could have took her loss to say, I'm done. I'm not going to finish school, and I'm going to let the charge take over me. But I heard her words to never be a quitter, and I decided to manifest that at that very moment, that in life, everything I do, I'm not going to quit. Even when I want to quit, I'll say I'm going to quit, but I'm going to get back up today. I may miss class 5 times. I'm going to get back up.
Right? Absolutely. I always say it's we will fall, right? We are going to have those tough moments. Even in those moments where we're like, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Get back up. There's always tomorrow, right? Get back up and do it again. But you said something. And so from my audience that will hear this and listen to this, I challenge you to think about, what are your 3, right? What are your 3 things? And I challenge you, because so many times we are faced with, I'm not quite sure. I don't know what my 1 is, right? But fine. What is your 1 thing? But then let's continue to tack on and say, all right, I've accomplished and I've done that 1. And man, I feel phenomenal. What's my 2 and what's my 3? And so I love that. I absolutely love that.
Thank you. And use some, and for me, if you allow things to be symbolic for you, that's why I created wearable pieces, because symbolism is so beautiful, because in life we need tangible things to let us know, as a reminder
Yeah.
or that it's possible,
Yeah.
like, in those two journeys. And so I allow a negative experience to be symbolic for you for something positive. That's how
Absolutely.
I curate. Like, people like, how do you get back up? This has been um emotionally one of the hardest 3 weeks that I've had in
Mm.
a long time. So and it was almost quite crippling. I love this podcast because it's about transformation
Yeah.
and really being open and honest. It's
Yeah.
been almost quite crippling emotionally for me.
Yeah.
Even the joy, the light giver.
Mm. Yeah.
But what I do allow is like being able to feel it, allowing to myself to acknowledge it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then allowing myself to say, okay, but you've been past this before. Like,
Yeah.
you've lost your mother, who is your pinnacle. So there
Mm.
can be nothing worse than that,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah.
So I use those things symbolic for me to say, oh, you got so much light in you because you've already done it before.
Yeah.
Or if I use someone else and I see what's possible when people show me, that's why
Yeah.
I'm blessed to be a symbolism of light. So when
Yeah.
someone sees me and they can say, oh, she can get back up after
Mhm.
losing her mother, her
Yes.
grandmother,
Yes.
her aunt, after being
Yes.
poverty and still deciding to try to run a business when you could barely read.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like,
Yes.
so allow me, if that is it, to be your symbolism that it ain't never over.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can feel not well, you can feel not as vibrant, but how are you going to act?
Yes. How are you showing up?
The trigger to the inside development, right?
Yeah.
So if I act a certain way, meaning I really put myself in a positive state, I'm honored to be here with you
Yeah.
on the podcast. So I'm going to show up fully, and
Yeah.
automatically it starts to transform
Yeah.
where I'm at emotionally, and
Yeah.
that allows you to keep moving forward in life.
There is, it's amazing because what I'll say to that is, so many times there is this fear of moving forward where the intellect tells us that that means stop,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we get in our own heads where we're like, I'm afraid to do it. I'm afraid to jump. I'm afraid to move forward. But sometimes that's just merely perceived as, maybe you're trying to tell me to stop. Or I
Yeah,
don't know what you're trying to tell me to do. But it's not.
it's never. If
Right?
it's something good, you know what it means, stop, when you know the outcome could be negative, like doing
Absolutely.
drugs, doing something
Yes.
illegal, like
Yes.
then stop.
Yes.
But if
Yes.
it's something that could be positive
Yep.
and it's just not
Mhm.
feeling well, or it's very hard in the
Yeah.
moment, and I'm
Yeah.
speaking to myself right now, coaching myself, um, it means keep going. Just do, I call it millimeter movements. Just do one more
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
On one more
Yes.
podcast, check one more email.
Yeah.
Ed Milet wrote a book called One More, The Power of One
Yeah.
More, which is beautiful. I
It
just
is.
love that whole concept because I
I do.
believe in
Hey,
one more. And then when I'll take it a step further, not a big one more,
yeah.
a
Yeah. Just
millimeter one more. If no one knows what a millimeter is, I didn't until I started making jewelry. When you look at a ruler, a millimeter is the smallest measurement on the ruler.
absolutely.
Small, get up. That means if you've been in
Yeah.
bed all day, oh yeah, get up and wash your face.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Get up. Put one foot in front of the other, right? One foot in front of the other.
Mhm.
Where are you in? I know you said you've had a difficult week.
Yeah.
And so I thank you for still showing up. I truly do. I don't take that lightly. Where are you on your becoming journey? Where are you on your becoming?
Oh, I'm always becoming. I'm becoming.
Yeah.
I've called myself a butterfly caterpillar because I consistently go through this butterfly and caterpillar
Yes.
phase
Yes.
in life. So every moment I'm becoming. I feel like I'm just becoming a newer version of me, and
Mm.
I think my becoming phase is really this becoming this permeating light in the world, like
Mm.
visually representation of
Mm.
the power of light. And it takes
Mm.
a lot to consistently become that, because you need to
Yes,
keep showing
yes,
up as that.
yes,
And life is going to keep testing you. And
yeah.
not even life, your own brain. Let's not
It
even get that
does. It
philosophical
does.
about it.
That's right.
It's
That's
like
what our
your
brain
brain
teaches.
tries you,
Yes,
like, because it knows you're becoming.
yes,
You
yes.
know, if I looked at it in college, it was so rough to get out because it
Mm,
knew I was about to graduate.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And when I was starting my journey in finding my career, I was trying all these different things, and it was
Yeah.
so hard. And it knew that I was really becoming who I was, and I was
Mm,
starting to take in and learn a lot of things, so I could
mm,
shed a lot of things, so I could be actually who you see today. And I think my next phase is going to be a powerful impact in the
yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And so I'm working on consistently being able to be human, because
Yeah.
that's real, and then be symbolic of what human looks like in light form. And that's a
Yeah.
big old journey. We'll
It
see.
is. It is. And see, you say things, and I'm messing with you, and I'm like, "Mhm, don't skate over that." But again, you said something, and I got to go back to it, right?
Okay, go
You said you had to shed
back. Hmm.
things on your
Yeah.
becoming journey, right?
Yes.
What does that mean? Right? Because people are
Oh,
here
that means
in
shed
this room.
people.
Yes,
That
yes,
means
that part.
shed people. That means shed ways of being.
Yes.
That means shed environments that I
Mm,
go into. That means shed mindsets.
yes.
And they're always going to be there. Like Bob Goff is another wonderful inspirer in the world. And I remember him saying that, and Jeremy Kern Lima, one of my dearest
Mm,
friends, I love her. She shares this often,
yeah.
that you learn to turn your mic down. So, meaning there are some people that are just going to be in your life.
Yes.
There are some things that are just going to be in your life. Like, you can't change your history. I can't change that I lived in a homeless shelter. I
Yeah.
can't change that I lost my mother. But I can't change certain family members. But what you can do, if they're becoming a negative thing in your growth of becoming, then you can decide to turn down the volume on what you allow it to amplify in your brain.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's what shedding is. It's like, okay, what do I have to move away from,
Mm,
get out of, stop listening to,
yeah.
turn off? I don't watch the news.
Mm,
Call me ignorant.
mm.
Sorry. I don't
I
watch
haven't gotten there yet. I've tried, but I
I don't
haven't
I
gotten it.
don't I don't watch any of that. I mean, I may be a little ignorant in the world, but I'm sure I'll find out at some point,
You
because
will.
by the time I post on social media and then do a quick scroll, I'm sure somebody gonna post and it's gonna
Right.
grab me.
Right.
But I'm not soaking all of that into
Yeah.
my brain has but so much capacity,
Yeah.
and I acknowledge that. And if I'm choosing to really stay in a certain mindset, I can't take on certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not strong enough. Maybe some of y'all are. I'm just not. So I had to turn down certain things and not
Mhm.
expose myself to certain
Absolutely.
things, so I can allow myself to be better. I turn
Yeah.
up on being around great people.
Yes.
The things I start putting on. So as you
Yeah.
shed, because I do get thick. I'm thicker than the snake I eat. So things that I put
Yeah.
on,
You know what? I'm
I
not.
get slim with it when I'm shedding. I'm gaining as well. I'm a gainer. So what I'm gaining is a bunch of love. Like
Yeah.
I surround myself with loving, positive,
Yeah.
upwardly growth minded people, that we all go through our own journeys. We're not
Absolutely.
perfect, but
Absolutely.
when I am weak, they are strong. When they
Mm.
are weak, I am strong. So we're
Yeah.
always lifting each other up.
Yeah.
I turn on my gospel music like no other.
I know that is absolutely. It
I
gets
did.
you through.
I do turn on a good hood music too sometimes, just to
We
get it.
need hood in our lives. Come on now. We do. We do gospel, and then we need that hood every so often too. I'm like, my husband will be like, "Oh, is that what we doing?"
Yeah, today this is what my spirit needs.
Right. You just listen to gospel, and then in the very next one yeah, it is.
Yes, that's me. Yes, my spirit's understood. My heart, they know my heart.
Right. But no, I love it, and when you talk about, I think to sum that up, it is reason, season, lifetime. And not everybody can go up with you.
No.
But I love the concept of turning the volume down and being able to do that, right? And so a lot of times people will say, "Oh, but they're family, I can't." Yeah, but you can, right?
Yeah, but
Just
you
because
should.
they family, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you
you
can and you should.
because
So
I mean, unless you want to go with them. I had a beautiful intern, young man, so kind, wonderful, and there were times I would take that we would just talk, and I'm like, then I just said it because it's my journey. I was like, I know where he was coming from. He wasn't coming from like a high income family and things like that, because he was telling me his struggle of just trying to get out of college, and I'm like, she knows that struggle. Let me talk to you about it. And I was like, so who are you around? Because how do you move up is who you're around, and who are your friends, and what conversations are your friends having.
Absolutely.
Like, what are y'all talking about? Because if you want to go to careers and your friends are talking about violence, then the odds are, if you do some math, to me, negative always generally
it does
overpowers positive for some reason. So if you want to go down their path, then stay around them. But if you don't, then you really are going to have to find a way to be alone and be a loner, and then find yourself in some circles of places and people where the conversation is where you want it to be.
Absolutely.
And that's what helps move you forward. It's what has helped move me forward.
Yeah.
And he was so appreciative of that. He was like, "Oh my God, how did you know? My friends aren't even in college. They're not having this conversation. And so I'm split between both." But it's hard to stay split between something.
Yeah.
The scale is going to tip one way or another. So which way do you really want to tip your scale?
Yes. I was jotting a few things down, and I'm gonna say it toward the end, but we talked about where you started. We talked about those pivotal moments. Tell my audience who you are now and what you do and how they can find you.
Oh, yay. I am a creator. I create wearable joy, I call it. I've tagged it. Valencia Key is what I birthed in the world. Valencia means brave. It's my middle name, but it's amazing because on a journey of me building what I was going to give to the world in Egypt, Morocco, and Spain, I found out that in a Spanish dialect, Valencia is defined as bravery and like a slang term. I was like, oh, how cool. And then key, if we can define it as unlocking. So it's really these wearable symbols of reminders to, this bracelet says joy and it has a check next to it. And so checking in is so important because our mind goes different places. No one can always be happy. No one always understands the light. No one always, it's in you because if that's who you are, but sometimes life things happen and you really have to be reminded to check in to who you defined yourself and what you defined your life as. And so that's what I want everything that I create to be reminders that inspire those symbolic things that I talk about. To be symbolisms, to be unlock your bravery, unlock your light, unlock in your own light. And then when we are light individually, we get to shine and lift each other up, because I feel like when you're shining your light, you don't even understand. Someone else sees that and is inspired by that. And you don't even know it. And you're inspiring someone else to be light. And that's what I've truly seen. And it's just a beautiful ripple effect in the world. So I'd love for you to connect with me
Absolutely.
On my website,
Yes.
Valencia, like the orange, VALENCIAKEY.com. Subscribe and find a piece of wearable joy that you
Yeah.
want to carry in these beaded handbags that are one of my give back projects. This has been a dream of mine. My father was from Africa. He's no longer with me, but he would tell me how poverty was. I was poverty, and he would tell me when he would pop in. Now he wasn't the best father, but when he would pop in, he was like,
Right.
"Oh, you think you're poverty? This is what happened in Africa when I was from." And I'm like, So I went to Africa finally.
Yeah.
It was about a year ago, and he's very true. There's
Mhm.
difference in levels of poverty
Yeah.
experiences, and so it's been a life dream of mine to
Yeah.
be able to bless
Mhm.
the land in which that I come from. And so
Yeah.
Can Be the Bags actually give women in Ghana income,
Yeah.
training, and education and it's in the villages. These aren't like big commerce. These are women. It's their trade. It's their
Right.
craft to do it. And it gives them
Mm.
inspiration. So
Wow.
carry a bag or just wear a piece of jewelry.
Yeah.
And live your light. And it'd be my dream. I pray into every piece, honestly, that I create. And my prayer is that as you live your life with Valencia Key, you're living out your abundant dreams consistently, even in the hardship of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm on Instagram at Lia Valencia Key or at Valencia Key Design for the actual brand.
So Lia Valencia Design for the brand and Valencia
Valencia
Key.
Key. Valencia Key Design for the brand.
Got it.
My full name, Lia Valencia Key on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to see my foolery, I'm out here doing things and traveling.
Okay.
You might see me jamming or not.
It's okay. You know that gospel and then the ratchet. Yeah, gospel. That's okay.
Get one of those. You want to get some of that light.
Absolutely. I need y'all to make sure y'all go and check out her jewelry, purses. I know I will because you just said something and I was like, oh, I need to buy a couple things. So last thing, if for that woman, right? That woman that is struggling and that woman that sees us today and thinks it's easy, right? And they don't realize that, man, yeah, to get there, it was ugly. Mm-hmm. It wasn't easy. What do you say to her?
I say that it's not easy. I don't know if it'll ever get easy, but it's doable and it feels good every hurdle that you're able to get past.
Yeah.
And if you just keep going, the things and beauty that you'll be able to experience are beyond anything that you can even dream.
Yes.
So like we're dreaming these dreams, but then God has bigger dreams for us.
Yes.
So I say just keep pushing. And I say it to you and I say it to me. I'm my own encourager. And when I encourage me, I love to encourage someone else that don't give up.
Yeah.
It's so hard, but there is something good on the other side.
Absolutely.
And even in the cry doing it, curse doing it, say you're going to quit, it's okay. Even take a couple of days off. But then decide today is the day I'm going to try one more millimeter movement. Yes. And then I say link up with podcasts like yours, Latisha, and beautiful people that are deciding to get up and keep going. Because when you have a community around you that are doing the same thing, it makes it very hard for you not to see how beautiful it is when you keep going.
It does. Whoo! Whoo! Thank you. Thank you. I am going to leave you all with a quick word. I was jotting some things down as well. Again, Latisha B. Russell, trauma-informed coach, author, and speaker. And I'm going to leave you with your heart feels the pull because it knows it's a sacred place, right? Many times we struggle with should I do and should I not do? I challenge you to know that you are a miracle. And no matter how hard it is, on those days, put one foot in front of the other and do it afraid. Thank you all so much for joining us. Latisha B. Russell, Tish Talks. I am here again with Lia Valencia Key. Check out her store, Follow her on social media. Thank you for joining me. I so
Thank you.
appreciate you.
I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you,
Love you,
everybody.
love you, love you. Thank you.